That is now 5 straight victories for your Detroit Tigers as they shut out the Yankees for the first time in 2025. We'll talk about that and more all today on Locked On Tigers.
You are Locked On Tigers, your daily Detroit Tigers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Locked On Tigers. I'm, of course, your host, Scott Bentley. Today is Wednesday, April 9th, 2025. Thank you so much for making Locked On Tigers your first listen every single day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off of your first year. Welcome in. Speaking of firsts of the year, the New York Yankees are shut out for the first time in 2025. You know, it's funny. There was a sports book that posted something online where they were offering a bet where you could basically bet if the Yankees were going to get shut out at any point this season. And now, on April 8th, just a little bit over a week into the season, not even 2 weeks in, the Yankees get shut out for the first time. And that is via Tarik Skubal, who was absolutely phenomenal in this one. We'll talk about all of that. The Tigers are now 7-4 after this 5-0 victory over the Bronx Bombers in Comerica Park. That is 5 consecutive wins, and they are 7-1 since being swept in LA. I think yesterday my math was wrong, and somebody in the comments called me out on it. I appreciate you because I'm not good at math and need to be checked in that regard very often. So thank you kindly. I think I said 5-1 since being swept. They are 7-1 after this win since starting off the season 0-3, and that is absolutely fantastic. You know what? You know the best part about starting off a series 2-0 is that you got a chance to go 3-0 and bring home a sweep. My first thought is, aside from just what a win, 4 home runs and a great pitching performance, sounds great to me, right? Like that's an all-around victory where you're doing damage in a lot of different ways. But I think really my takeaway after this win is really focusing on the current roster situation. We had a couple more injuries before this game started. To be able to stockpile wins against, you know, some pretty good teams as well in the Mariners and the Yankees. Obviously, the White Sox are excluded from that comment, but like you have a series win against the Mariners, who are playoff hopefuls and one of the best pitching rotations, if not just straight up the best in baseball. And then the Yankees are you know, going into the season, were favorites to win the AL East, and you're taking at least 2 of 3 from them. To be able to stockpile those wins while you have like 50 people on your injured list is such a big deal, right? I don't think that this team is going to be like a top 3 to 5 offense in baseball. Like right now, this team literally is statistically one of the better offenses in the league. I don't think that's going to last, right? I'm not completely delusional. Okay. I do not expect them to be a high-powered offense still, but these games count all the same, man. Just because they're early in April doesn't mean they don't count. And so keep it up. Like, I know that's super, you know, cliche and easy, right? Just like, keep it up, keep winning, good job, pat on the back. But like, if they can continue to stockpile these wins before they get hopefully some reinforcements in the injury department, you're talking about the potential for a really, really fun season. And that is, I think, safe to say what it has been so far, 11 games in. Obviously, still very early. There will be tough times at some part, and it's about how you manage through those. But if they were losing games right now, I'd probably be saying, oh, like it's early and they're hurt. Let's just try to weather the storm here. And instead, they're winning and beating good teams despite that. It's fantastic for culture, for mindset. I know those are kind of like trigger words, but I'm still going to use them. I think that this is just awesome, and I'm so happy that they are still playing competitive baseball given the weather, the injuries, etc. Let's talk about what went right. Besides, you could kind of just say just about everything. Again, a 5-0 victory over a good team like that is always going to be well received, but you kind of have to start and end with the man on the mound. Tarik Skubal goes 6 innings, 4 hits, no earned runs, no walks, and 6 strikeouts against the Yankees, who their offensive numbers, you play the OPS game with them, it's ridiculous. They have, 800,000-900,000 OPSs top to bottom in the lineup up to this point in the season. They've been one of, if not the best offenses in baseball. And everybody's talking about the torpedo bats, and it's just Speedo, Tuxedo, Danny DeVito, torpedo. I don't care. Okay. Well, I'm taking Tarik effing Skubal in 4. Okay. In this game in 6. Absolutely phenomenal. The command early was not great, and he allowed a couple of base runners. They ambushed him early. The game plan was clearly to be aggressive. He countered that and adjusted in like 3 batters. Like, it literally took him 3 batters. He was like, all right, I'm just going to do this instead. And it worked the rest of the game. He was dang near untouchable after the first inning. No walks, vintage Skubal in that regard. That is the most not talked about part of his game in terms of the national media. This dude is not going to is not going to beat himself. You are going to have to prove it against him, because he is not going to walk a ton of batters and give out free passes. Didn't allow any in this ball game, pounding the strike zone like we know he likes to do. And this is why I was not worried at all 2 starts in. The ERA is a little bit higher. He's given up some home runs. People are asking me after all of these first 2 outings, should we be worried? Is he okay? He's fine, and no, you shouldn't. He is a dog. That doesn't mean he's going to throw 6 shutout every single outing the rest of the season. But like, he is one of the baddest dudes on the planet. He's one of the best pitchers alive, and he proved that in this game. Certainly some help from the elements. It was very cold, but the Tigers hit 4 homers today, so clearly it wasn't impossible. That's just Tarik Skubal being Tarik Skubal. Also want to give credit to Brant Herter in this one. Goes 3 innings, 2 hits, no runs, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts. I thought he was phenomenal, dude. Like, this will go completely overlooked because he's not a very big name. The Tigers hit 4 homers, and the reigning Cy Young Award winner pitched. So like, he's going to be very low on the show sheet for like national media, but his sweeper was unhittable, dude. Like, he literally, every time he threw that, it felt like a swing and miss. And honestly, the biggest thing about this outing isn't anything that even directly relates to anything he was doing on the mound. The fact that he is able to go 3 innings and keep the shutout, like, this allowed the Tigers to only have to use 1 reliever. That is massive. That is huge. The Tigers have an off day this Thursday, and then don't have another one for a couple of weeks. They have 1 off day over the next like 2.5 weeks. It's going to be a grind. So anytime you can use only 1 reliever and save and give the rest of the bullpen a day off, that is a really big deal, especially heading into now a series finale. Awesome stuff. Let's talk about the offense. 4 home runs hit, all of them solo shots, but a really good showing from the boys today. We'll talk about that and more right after this. Got a talk to you today about our friends over at Wonderful Pistachios. If you're looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious, crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts, with each 1 ounce serving giving you 6 grams of protein. That's over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help keep you feeling fuller longer. Personally, as I always tell y'all, I love the no shells variety. It is just the perfect grab and go snack for busy days. My roommate and I are obsessed. Whether I'm snacking at my desk or on a road trip or just need a quick protein boost, they're always my go-to. And if you love cracking open every shell for that satisfying crunch, the in-shell options are a classic favorite for you traditionalists as well. So get snacking and get cracking with the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. That is just undoubtedly the best line in marketing. I'm convinced. All right, everybody, welcome back here. Segment 2 of Locked On Tigers. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. As always, making us your first listen every single day. Shout out to the everydayers that do tune in every day. We, of course, will be back tomorrow recapping the series finale against the New York Yankees, hopefully recapping a sweep, but either way, we're recapping another series victory for your Detroit Tigers. I want to talk about the offense in this 5-0 victory for the Tigers. I want to start with Kerry Carpenter here. It goes 1 for 4, but that one was very, very noteworthy. Not only was it another home run for Kerry Carpenter, who is off to a tremendous start this season, it is a home run off of a lefty. The Yankees bring in a lefty, trying to get Carpenter out of the game, and A.J. Hinch does not budge, does not go to his bench, and Kerry Carpenter hits his second home run of the season off of a lefty. That's 2 now. It's April 8th. He has 2 homers this year off of a lefty. His numbers against left-handed pitching, tremendous. Now, very small sample size. Those will go down a little bit, but golly, if that ain't an absolute beauty. He was attacked exactly how he has been attacked as well. Just continue to give him spin low and away from a lefty. He'll eventually either take the pitch or swing through it. I think he threw 3 in a row that were just sliders, sweepers, whatever breaking ball it was, low and away and trying to dot that corner. And after the first 2, Carpenter said, all right, you better not throw that for a third time because I am taking you yard. And he did. To the pull side. You know how difficult that is? Lefty breaking ball low and away, and you pull it for a home run. And he knew it off the bat, too. It was kind of a no-doubter. Absolute beauty. Wonderful thing we are seeing from Carpenter in his development against left-handed pitching. Then we have 3 home runs in an inning. Spencer Torkelson, Zach McKinstry, Dillon Dingler all go yard in the 4th inning for the Detroit Tigers. They almost was back-to-back, but Colt Keith had a ground out in there. We'll talk about him in a second. Torkelson overall was locked in this game. Not only solid defense again at first base, but both of his hits were absolutely smoked. He laced the ball in his first at-bat, or his first hit at least. I don't remember if it was his first at-bat of the game or not. Either way, absolutely laced the ball into the right center field gap. That's so awesome. Like to see him go where the baseball is thrown, go not like the opposite way, like he wasn't late and it's, down the right field line. Like that ball was just smoked into the right center field gap. 106 miles an hour off the bat, I'm pretty sure. Just absolute beautiful piece of hitting. And then his next time up, he goes yard. That is a off-speed pitch away. That's the outer half of the zone. Off-speed, and he pulls it to the left center field the visitor's bullpen, left center field gap for a home run. That's one of the deepest parts of the ballpark. Well over 400 feet. I think 405, 406 feet for that home run. Fantastic. He continues to look locked in. Those adjustments continue to prove that they are working. It's so odd. His season stats, he's now has a 310 average with an OPS over 1,000, baby. Like, it's just so cool to see him truly turning that corner. And I've been saying that, for the better part of this week, certainly, if not dating back to the end of last week. There's obviously still some questions about how high his ceiling is. Goodness, if I can speak, how high his ceiling is. But I think it is safe to say that the adjustments he has made have led him to be a much better hitter than he was. And at a minimum, he is going to contribute something here for this team this season. Let's see how high he can climb. I am absolutely leaning back in my recliner, just enjoying the show, man. And what a show he has put on so far this season. Dillon Dingler with a bomb in this one. You know, if I gave out a player of the game, I'll leave that to Castellani and Rietma as well. Check out Locked On Tigers postcast, by the way, with Jake Rietma. Does a fantastic job. He live streams. If you're watching on YouTube, that is the way to catch the live streams, is go to the Locked On Tigers YouTube page. And he immediately after the final out is made, does about a 20-25 minute recap of the game itself on this channel. And great guy, does, great post-game stuff. And you can just join in on the hype train with him after games. So he does a player of the game. That's not really my thing. If I was to give one out, it would hands down be Dillon Dingler. Part of that is just because I expect Tarik Skubal to dominate, which is almost unfair to him. But Dillon Dingler goes 2 for 3 with a home run and finds out that he is going to catch about an hour before first pitch. And not only catch, you are catching Tarik Skubal, the reigning Cy Young winner, unanimously, Triple Crown winner. And it's the first time he's ever caught him in like a meaningful game. He's caught him in spring training and in practice and such before. He has never caught him in a regular season major league game before. And he does it and looked fantastic back there. I thought he called a great game. That's very easy to say with a shutout. But like that's a good offense. That's a really good offense. And you have Dillon Dingler in the first full season of his career catching a high-profile pitcher like that and doing it, at the last minute like that again, with Rogers being scratched from the lineup right before the game started. We'll talk about all the injury stuff here in a second. AJ talked about after the game, this team is just prepared. Everybody is prepared, and everybody prepares as though they are going to play every single game. And that is why what he does works. And that's why when people, complain about or whatnot, his, I will say his very common substitutions, pinch hitting, bullpen usage, etc. You have to understand that they are all bought in. The entire locker room is bought into that. And every dude in there is ready to play the second their number is called. Do you know how much prep work goes into catching before a game? It is a ton, dude. You have to know all of the opposing hitters, hot zones and cold zones and strengths and weaknesses. You have to know your pitchers' strengths and weaknesses and where you're going to attack. Each hitter is a unique case. Like there is so much you have to prepare for, and for Dingler to just step up like it's nothing and just go, yeah, absolutely. Like, obviously I'll catch, and I'm prepared to do that. Even though Jake Rogers has caught every single Tarik Skubal start for the last 2 years, it is a massive testament to him. So I want to give him credit for sure. Javi with another decent day at the office as well, with a walk and a hit. His offensive numbers so far this season have been fantastic, considering kind of what we were expecting going into the year. So a lot went right in this ball game. You're obviously going to be able to say that after a 5-0 victory. Let's talk about the couple of things that went wrong. The Tigers are winning a lot, so this sounds like I'm pessimistic. No, we just do this no matter what. When we lose, I talk about what went right as well. Even if it's a 12-0 game, I find at least one thing to talk about that went right. This is just how the show sheet works and how the format of this show operates, and it just makes me look like such a negative Nelly when they win 5-0 and are on a 5-game winning streak. And I'm like, well, actually, what went wrong? I promise I'm not trying to hyper focus on negatives here. So let's talk about a couple of those things before we get into everybody's favorite segment stuff. We will do all of that right after this. Got to talk to you today about our friends over at Monarch Money. Have you ever checked your bank account and wondered where the heck did all of my money go? Well, between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track, and that's where Monarch Money comes in. Your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, it's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending all in one place. You can stop managing your money and truly start building wealth. When I started using Monarch, I realized how much I was spending on food delivery type of stuff. And now I just budget way smarter and save way more instead of juggling multiple apps to try to keep track of all the different finances I have. Well, I just use Monarch and it's all in one. You can track my finances, track spending, and even plan long-term goals as well. Managing money with your partner is also smoother than ever. You can track personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the same page without all of the stress. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off of your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONMLB for half off of your first year. All right, everybody, welcome back here. Third and final segment of Locked On Tigers. Appreciate y'all for tuning in after this 5-0 victory for your Detroit Tigers. What went wrong in this game? Not a lot, obviously. Colt Keith with another blunder defensively. We will have a much more in-depth kind of big picture conversation. We actually talked about it a little bit on yesterday's show, what to do when Gleyber comes back and who's going to go where. That changes a little bit more after some of the injuries today we'll talk about in a second. But the only thing I'm confident in is that when Gleyber returns to the lineup, Colt Keith, is he going to be in AAA? Is he going to be in the majors? Is he going to be, what position is he going to play? The only thing I'm certain of is he's not going to be playing second base, Colt Keith. And Gleyber isn't a gold glover over there by any stretch of the imagination. But Keith has just looked, and like part of that I don't even think is his fault. This dude was told all offseason to work as a first baseman, and then like 4 games into the season, they're like, all right, scratch that. Like it's not 100% his fault, but the team has to put the best product out there every single game, and I do not think with Gleyber Torres healthy that the best product and the best chance for the Tigers to win every day is with Colt Keith at second base. And Torkelson looking mighty good at first base as well. So we'll see what happens there. Like I said, it seems like that is kind of looming, Gleyber's return. Hopefully that's true. So we'll talk about that as the week goes on. Only other things were just some at-bats. Riley Green with a lot of strikeouts again in this ball game. 0 for 4 with 2 Ks. He has just really been all or nothing. Like his offensive stats this year, he's hitting 290 with an OPS that it's almost 900. Like he's doing well. His power numbers are good. When he does hit the ball, his metrics are all great. But he is striking out a boatload at the moment. And so that's something to keep an eye out for. That's kind of like what I was talking about earlier in the season, where it's like, he's hitting home runs. This is not like fully locked in Riley Green. He's still producing and still is putting together some decent at bats. So we'll keep an eye on it. I'm not worried, as you can tell. This is me not worried whatsoever. I think Riley Green's an exceptional talent and going to be fine. Just for the same reasons that we have hesitation to overreact to the good, we'll say the same thing with the bad. Is like we are 11 games into an 162 game season. So keep an eye out for that. Malloy 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts as well. For as much as I love the fact that he draws walks and that I think he has improved from last season, and that I think he's more than just a like left-handed pitcher or platoon type of hitter. I also think that strikeouts were a big issue for him last year, and that is something that he's going to have to prove he has improved in if he wants to continue to be the leadoff hitter going forward. We talked about that a little bit yesterday as well. Going to have to cut down these swing and miss and the strikeout numbers, which I think, I do think he has shown improvement in that regard from last year. It's just a matter of whether that improvement is super noticeable over a larger sample size. So we'll keep an eye out for that as well. Let's talk stuff. Okay. Everybody's favorite segment, the umpire again, I sound like a jerk because every time I'm like, oh, I don't like to talk about umpires, but I'm gonna do it again. Like I feel like a real jerk, to keep it PG. But like it is. I can't not bring it up. Like, we're talking about the biggest stories in the organization every given day, right? Like that. How is the home plate umpire for the second game in a row not very obviously a key talking point? This was inconsistent as all heck. Again, not the same dude either. It was mind-boggling. A couple of pranksters back there. One of the funniest injury reports you'll ever see came out of this game as well, with Cody Bellinger missing this ball game on Tuesday due to food poisoning from some bad wings he ate. So I don't know if the chef that knew, and he's just a huge Tigers fan and took matters into his own hands, or whether he just went to somewhere in the Metro Detroit area that doesn't give out very good wings. I don't know. But obviously the chef thing is completely a joke, by the way. Just want to make that abundantly clear. But either way, one of the more humorous injury reports notifications I have ever received. And hopefully he's, fine and can go back out there and play on Wednesday's game. You don't want injuries, period, as funny as they may be. Man, again, overall, the first time the Yankees have been shut out this year, we're 11 games in. That's not like some incredible, Hall of Fame worthy accomplishment, but for all the hype that they had, with the torpedo bats and everything, and how much the offense has been like objectively raking, Rice is like one of my favorite kind of young up and coming hitters in ball. Has had a fantastic start to the year. There's just, they have a lot going for them offensively, and for your reigning AL Cy Young winner to just go down there and mow them down in an afternoon game is just an absolute beauty. So we love that. We absolutely love it. A lot of injury news on Tuesday. Unfortunately, Jake Rogers scratched from the lineup right before the game started with an oblique strain. Hopefully that's only 10 days. Apparently he was like swinging a bat and just felt uncomfortable. And the team doctor was there today, and immediately they put him on the IL. So hopefully that is only 10 days. Manuel Margot, before the game, also put on the IL with a left knee injury. We talked about on yesterday how he came up kind of gingerly in that play in right field and couldn't get to that ball, and how weird that play was. Apparently he was hurt, even though he played the rest of the game. And Wensil Perez is moved to the 60-day injured list. Now, like, he's already been on there for a few weeks. That adds a few weeks to the earliest day he can return, but not a ton because it's a retroactive thing. The reason why they do that is because when you're on the 60-day IL, you clear up a 40-man roster spot. On the 10-day injured list, you still take up a 40-man roster spot. They needed an outfielder and they needed a catcher, neither of which were on the 40-man roster. Certainly not Brewer Hicklin. I guess maybe Nito was. I don't think so. But either way, they needed a 40-man roster spot cleared up. And so Wensil Perez moves to the 60-day injured list. The Tigers, to replace both of those fine gentlemen, call up Brewer Hicklin and Tomas Nito. Nito was somebody that had a really solid spring for the Tigers, and it really looks like the coaching staff liked. We talked about when he got sent down right before opening day that if a catcher gets hurt this year, more like when, no two catchers have ever stayed fully healthy for a whole season. But except for maybe the Tigers last year. Anyway, very rare occurrence. And so we kind of talked about it at that moment where, like, this guy is absolutely going to be the first call up if a catcher gets hurt. And that is seemingly and obviously the case here. Has never hit well at the major league level. He's about to turn 31. I think his birthday is just in a couple of days. So has, in many years, up and down, kind of been that perennial 4A type of player, but a good defender. And something that Johnny Kane brought up, and they brought up in the post-game show, Dan Petrie also talked about it, for FanDuel Sports Network, was that Nito has caught everybody in the rotation in spring training. And I think that was, again, like something that's not talked about and is an under the radar method to AJ Hinch's madness. He now has experience with everybody in this rotation and almost everybody in the pen from spring training, despite the fact that he's, coming over to a new organization. So, hopefully he doesn't have to play too terribly much, just because we hope that Jake Rogers is only out for about a week and a half. But Dillon Dingler has looked really good defensively and is swinging a hot stick. So I would imagine they're going to have no problem going to him for the foreseeable future here. And then Brewer Hicklin is somebody that played for the Brewers, and a lot of people were upset that the Tigers claimed somebody right before opening day that was, at the end of March there, that was put and was waived from the Milwaukee Brewers, taking a Brewer away from the Brewers. But he's 29 years old, is in his major league career 0 for 9 with 8 strikeouts. Heck of a line, but hasn't really been given, obviously, 9 plate appearances, too many opportunities. Has hit decently in the minor leagues most of his professional career. Like his AAA stats in his life are pretty solid. The one thing to watch out for here is if he can play center field and is hitting really in any capacity. He could be a guy that kind of overtakes Kreidler until, again, anybody gets healthy again. Like Hicklin is not going to be the center fielder for the rest of the season. They have 4 other guys they would rather put there. But until either Baddoo, Perez, Fearling, or Meadows are all healthy, we're trying to just kind of keep our head above water in that center field position. And he has some speed. Like this is a guy that last year in AAA stole over 40 bases and only got caught 6 times. Now, catching at the AAA level, not as good as the major league level, obviously, but very, very noteworthy at a minimum. So we'll see. Like we'll see. Really, I mean, there isn't anybody consistently that the organization or that the fan base is confident in that's going out and playing center field. He's played a lot of corner outfield in his life, but has already played center field for the Mud Hens this year. So with Margot gone and Kreidler not performing, I would imagine Hicklin will be an option in either of the corner outfield or center field position. So we'll kind of keep an eye on that. But stolen base threat, which is always fun as well. AJ likes to kind of utilize those guys on the base paths as best as possible. Okay, let's go for a sweep. Why not? Max Fried versus Jack Flaherty, 1:00 at Comerica Park on Wednesday. Why not go for the sweep? It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. They can go for it, their 6th consecutive victory, and go, now they have clinched 3 straight series victories, and they've played 4 series on the year. So yeah, I mean, you have an opportunity to sweep the Yankees at home and start off 6-0 at home, which is something that I think the fan base would enjoy. So let's go out there and win a ball game. Going to end the show by saying rest in peace to Octavio Dotel. Former major leaguer, has played for about half the teams in Major League Baseball. So something that touches a lot of baseball fans. There's some family from some former major leaguers. I know Nelson Cruz has some family that was a part of this tragedy as well. So keeping everyone affected by this horrible tragedy in our thoughts and prayers, praying for Octavio Dotel's family. And like I said, everyone affected. Rest in peace to Octavio Dotel. We'll see you tomorrow.